yo, what's going on, man? It is your boy, baby, JoeNoJoseph, and I'm back at it again with another one, all right? Today, man, we're checking out the most evil people in Britain, okay? The Moors murderers, man. I'm hyped to see what's going on. Did I say murderers or murders? Murders, dog. You got it? Murdered who? We don't know, but we're here to find out, all right? Make sure if you guys haven't already tuned into the Bella's Mystery Channel, you're fucking prepared, bro. Every Monday, dog, okay? Every Monday, this is what you're doing. This is what you're doing, nothing else. Pull the fuck up, okay? And don't forget, as soon as you leave my shit, go over there and like their video too, man. And let them know JoeNoJoseph sent you, all right? Let's get into the video.
Yes, I'm excited for today.
Why are you late this time?
Oh, mate. Look, I didn't really want to talk about it, if I'm honest with you, but I think I might be addicted to soap.
What?
Yeah, but good news is I'm clean now. All right, cool. Anyways, we've
What
got
the
a
fuck? I was like, yo,
today.
wait, what?
We do. Today, we have the Moors murders.
I'm so pissed because I was really sitting there like, what? Like, where could he be going with this? Like, I was really thinking he was about to be serious. I was so upset.
Bone hair up off the floor and not have a problem.
The precise details of how Myra Hindley fulfilled Brady's fantasies remained unknown for 20 years after they were jailed for life.
She certainly was the pupil. She became as bad as the master. I don't think she ever became worse than Brady, because the bottom line is that the actual killing was carried out by him. But she allowed the killing to happen. She created the killing, and she gloried in it.
Once, when she was being picked on,
Were they killing kids? Oh, come on, man.
he locked her out onto the street and told her to beat the bully or face a thrashing herself.
What?
A series of murders committed between 1963 and 1965 by Ian Brady and Myra Hindley. This one,
Hey, no cap. I wasn't gonna say nothing. I like him. I like him a little dangerous. You know what I mean?
is as famous as it gets.
Mate, I'm telling you, this is from your ends, by the way.
Yeah,
this is up in Manchester,
right? Up in
right?
Manchester. This is where it's what we're known for.
That's what you went home for.
It's what we're known
Oh,
for.
it's what you're known for.
Sorry, accents and that.
So I would say when I think of Manchester, I think of Manchester United, and then I think of the Moors murders. Those are the first two things that pop into my head.
Thank you, mate.
And then I also think that Chippo Crimes was actually born there, and that's where he spends most of his time with his uncle.
His
That
uncle.
we will not speak of.
What the fuck
Right,
is he doing
talk
with his
to me,
uncle?
Chip.
That's what I want to know.
Okay.
What is all this wassa wassa about?
Hey, Chad. Was that Uncle line a little weird for anybody else? I don't know.
I'm not sure what wassa wassa fully means. We might have to be careful with that one. Could be some mad shit. Well, like I said, Carl, this is a huge one. These two have been called two of the most sadistic killers, and Myra Hindley has been dubbed the most evil woman in Britain.
Wow, what a title.
Yeah,
What a
very good
title.
For what?
You were dubbed the most handsome man in Britain, and she's got the most evil woman in Britain.
Hey, we can't all be winning.
Wait, what do I get?
The latest man in Britain. That's what you get. The latest man. Yeah, as in you're always late. The least punctual man in Britain.
Okay, I like that one actually.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, thanks for that, Chip. That was insightful. The Moors murders. They were committed by two people, a couple in fact, Chip,
Yep.
who go by the name Ian Brady and Myra Hindley. Now, of course, when it comes to these sort
am I confused? Is it two? Are they talking about two women, or is it a wife and a man? I mean, a wife and a man. Yeah, a wife and a husband. Cause I'm like so lost right now. Hold on, we gotta get back in this. Hold on.
Really dark ones, especially
A man and a woman. Oh, okay, cool. So I saw the first lady that they showed in like the little like school photo looking thing or whatever. I thought that her and the other lady were two different women for a second. I got mad confused. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, we're back.
Murders committed in this particular case. 5 that we're aware of anyways. You never know. There could be more, but all we know of is 5 murders, and it was all committed on people under the age, kids under the age of 18.
Not what you want to hear.
Which is tragic, which is
Not
horrible.
what you want to hear.
Obviously,
Especially on a Monday morning.
That's the last thing you want to hear on a Monday morning. But unfortunately, it's our job to report these cases to you guys. And you guys have asked for the Moors murders, and that's exactly what we're doing. So it's important.
Oh, Jazza.
Background of the people that committed these horrible, horrible crimes. So first up, let's take a look at the background of Ian Brady.
Come
Ian
on.
Brady, born in Glasgow, 1938, under the name Ian Duncan Stewart. Now, the identity of his father, not known. So we've got single mother, and she actually had to give Ian away to the Sloan family because she's struggling to take care of him.
That's got to be tough.
Yo, I swear, I was reading that and I was like, adopted by Mary and Joan Sloan, becoming alone? I was like, they loaned the kid away? I was
It's tough.
Like, that's tough for a mother to be forced to give away your kid. But not only that, you got to think about, Ian. He now goes by the name because he went to the Sloan family, so he then went under the name Ian Sloan. And yeah, that's going to be tough for any kid, regardless. And he actually ended up going to a pretty good school. The name of the school was actually Shawlands Academy, and it was known as a school that was for people that were of slightly above average intelligence. So he wasn't necessarily, he wasn't a stupid kid by any means, but he was a bit of a troublemaker. He got into quite a lot of trouble, especially in his early teens. He actually got done for like breaking into a house. Quite a few sort of like small things, but yeah, he wasn't a model kid. He wasn't a good kid when he was younger. And
Damn.
a lot of this stuff, especially you'll find when you look at a lot of these murders that end up happening, especially a lot of these tragic cases, you look back at their childhood, and a lot of the time you'll find that they might have had a missing parent, particularly a father. Not only that, but their childhoods just always seem to be quite.
It's always something weird. It's always
quite
weird,
clear
you know?
in Ian Brady's
God damn
case,
it, Jack.
or Ian Sloan at the time, when he was a kid, that was definitely the case.
Yes.
After breaking into a house about 9 months later, he actually ended up threatening his girlfriend at the time, Evelyn, with a flick knife because she went to a dance with another boy. So a bit of teenage drama, but
Chat, what is a flick knife? Is that like one of those ones that's like folded? You know what I'm talking about? Is that what that is? Is that a flick knife? Like a pocket knife? Oh, okay. Okay. I don't know why that sounded so weird. Why can't y'all just call shit what it is? Why can't y'all just call shit what it is, bro? A pocket knife, bro. A pocket knife. Why?
certainly no grounds for whipping out a flick knife on someone. And he actually ended up going to court, and he had 9 charges against him, right? And he ended up getting probation. Obviously, he was young at the time. He ended up getting probation, but under one condition, and that was that he went and lived with his mother. Now, his mother moved to Manchester, right? And so he was now living in Manchester.
His mother had married an Irishman named Patrick Brady, and he actually gave Ian his surname, and that's how he got
So
the
he
name, you know?
took a step
Look,
down.
Dazza, you might be
Surname,
right,
that's how
bro.
he got
You
the
might be
famous
right.
name, Ian Brady.
Ian actually spends a bit of time in prison, about 3 months in prison, and he comes out, obviously in Manchester, and he ends up taking a clerical job at a place called Millwards. Now, this is important because this is where he meets his partner in crime, Myra Hindley.
Born in Crumpsall in 1942, raised in Gorton, Manchester.
Your sides, Chip.
This is-
she was raised in your...
This is it. I know these places.
Do
Anyway,
you actually know where Gorton is?
Yeah, and Crumpsall.
Where actually?
Yeah, 100%.
How far away are they from your guy?
Chad, is it a little
About
louder
40
now?
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go there in a little motor, whip about.
Yeah?
What's up, Myra?
Pull up to my
Dead now, but
my
yeah.
town. My
Anyway,
land.
go ahead.
she, like we said earlier, she has also had an extremely rough childhood. She's got the alcoholic father who used to beat her often as a
Physically
child. Yeah,
beat her.
physically. So obviously, like you mentioned earlier, childhood trauma normally, that's where these psychopaths normally stem from.
Yeah, and similar case to Ian. Childhood wasn't great. I mean, imagine that, your dad almost rewarding physical sort of violence towards
Yeah,
other people.
what?
There was times in her childhood where she would have altercations with other kids. She would come home and say, oh, this person did something to me. And then the dad would be like, oh, why didn't you hit her back? Why didn't you beat them up? Something like that. So she would actually then go back out to find the person to then just go and beat them up. And then she was rewarded at home for doing that.
He taught her to fight.
Oh damn, I'm muted. Oh, my bad, but I was saying that, I don't know if y'all know, but it sounded like a black household to me, because my parents were just like that. They're like, somebody bother you at school, like, oh, you let that boy put his hands on you? Oh, okay, well, you need to go back to school tomorrow, you need to beat his ass. That's literally what they used to say. Yeah, I was muted for a second there. My bad.
You wanted her to be equally as strong.
Look, I'm all for standing up for yourself.
But that is just a bit.
I think this is not the right way to go about it, especially if you're an alcoholic father who beats their own kids.
Not a good man.
I'm not quite sure this is parenting 101 from Myra's dad. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. Another sort of tragic thing that actually happened to Myra was that her best friend had died when she was only 15 years old. And it was something that she was relatively emotional about as well, because one of the sort of characteristics that's been said that Myra Hindley doesn't have is that she's not very emotional about things at all, to be honest. But this, obviously, at the age of 15, as you would, your best friend has died. This was a very emotional sort of thing for her. A big part of her life was all surrounding about this dead best friend.
When Myra was 17, she actually couldn't be me. But she called the whole thing
Couldn't be me,
because,
bro.
Cold feet.
Yeah, she got cold feet. The guy that she was meant to get, married to, apparently couldn't provide her with the life that she wanted.
Damn, she
He
was wanting
too
that
immature.
bougie lifestyle.
She was trying to get the lifestyle. But anyway, in January 1961, she becomes infatuated with the man we know as Ian Brady. And this is where it all begins.
So it all kicks
it's a
off.
spiral of pain.
It really is. And in fact, they arranged for their very first date to, and what do we say on the podcast? The worst date you could possibly go on is to the cinema.
Yeah.
And guess what? They went on their first date to...
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Everybody that's ever asked me, I will always say, bro, first date, the worst place you can go, bro, the worst fucking place you can go is to dinner, bro. To dinner, bro. That is the dumbest fucking date ever, dog. Ever, bro.
The cinema.
Myra and Ian should have come to us for relationship advice.
They should have done it. If they would ask, where do we go on our very first date? We certainly wouldn't have told you the cinema. And who knows, maybe if they took them, for a little bit of mini golf back then, whatever was popping, yeah? They might not be murderers.
Yep.
They might not be murderers.
Yep.
Their relationship was actually
questionable.
really
questionable.
Dark
they
and
would have still
twisted
been murderers.
Because
Fucking
what they would
weirdos.
actually do is they would share books on like Nazi practices and weird things that Nazis would do to each other, and it was all very dark, and they both seemed to really enjoy it. They were both really engrossed in like true crime, things like that. Sort of sounds a little bit like the way we're really into true crime, except we don't go out and commit any of these things. They were really interested in the idea of committing the perfect crime. And another
so now that makes sense.
Weird and disturbing fact or bit of detail is that Myra Hindley was so into all these Nazi things that she ended up actually following that Aryan look, which is, bleach blonde hair. She had the red lipstick on. These were two people that obviously connected over like dark.
It's fucking crazy, but I thought it was just like the old school thing. I thought she was just doing the old school look, Like, I never would have thought that. I was like, damn, that's just an old photo of a woman. Like,
and twisted stuff. And it doesn't surprise me that, knowing it now, looking back at the time, knowing now, it doesn't surprise me that they ended up going down the route that they did, which is just horrific.
Myra Hindley was actually interested in shooting and joined like a club, but
like a shooting club.
Yeah, but she wasn't very good. She had pretty bad aim and a bad temper, so that really didn't work out.
Imagine going to a club and being like, I can only imagine the worst possible thing when you're going to like a shooting club is having a bad temper. Can you imagine if you're just there knocking around and this girl is kicking and screaming, like losing her mind, and she's just
missing every shot.
Yeah, she's missed a shot and then she's just screaming her head off. It's not ideal. Really,
it's not ideal. You'd probably be like, yeah, I don't think you are meant to hold a gun, to be perfectly honest with you. Not only that, but suppose your accuracy was bad as well.
Yeah.
So she certainly wouldn't be in our COD team.
Well, and she definitely wouldn't. wouldn't. She won't be on game battles. Anyway, she was unsuitable, but she did end up buying guns from other members of the club. So
despite everyone telling her, okay, let's not do the shooting stuff,
right.
she was obviously just there like, hold on a second, right? You say that all you want, but I'm still gonna go.
Money talks, man. Money talks. She might be absolutely trash, but when she slips out those shillings,
yeah,
that's what it was back then. I don't know.
Shillings?
I wonder how many shillings it costs to get yourself a Smith & Wesson.
I don't know. I think it might have been pounds actually.
Bang. Probably like a $5 these days. You could probably back then. You probably could have gone around to Bossman's and just get me a handgun. I like the pink one behind.
I'll drop you half a shilling.
So far, this couple right here, they're giving me serious Bonnie and Clyde vibe.
Dead ass? Shillings was the bro, I thought that was so much longer before all of this. Like, that's kind of crazy. Damn.
I mean, they spoke about, like I said, committing the perfect murder, you know, doing bank robberies, all these sort of things. It's sort of like these lot were the Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Oh, it was the 80s?
Of way back when.
They had shillings in the 80s? They didn't have shillings in the 80s, nigga. People were doing cocaine off of dollar bills in the 80s.
Yeah, just without, child murders.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
I hope
okay.
not. You never know.
We can't be accusing Jay-Z and Beyonce on it.
Yeah, okay, fine.
I love Beyonce's music.
Yeah, I love Jay-Z's music, yeah. Look, all right, they're a power couple. That's what I'm getting at here, okay?
Yeah, I got you.
They had that vibe about them. Favorite part of the show, Chip. Let's talk a little bit about the murders that Ian Brady and Myra Hindley committed. Okay. First up, it's important to note that the way we're going to read out these murders are in the order in which they were committed, not the order in which the bodies were found, because some of these bodies were actually found later, kind of like the very first one, which is Pauline Reed. Now, this murder was committed on the 12th of July, 1963.
1 day before my birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy. Just 31 years before.
Yeah. But it's still 1 day before, Chip. No,
just 31 years
I'm glad
before.
You brought that bit of information, because now everyone viewing is just so much more knowledgeable about the case because of that bit of information you've let them all know about.
Yep, I had to let them know. Well, now they all know my birthday and they'll all buy me a present.
Well, it's about 2 or 3 weeks past your birthday, so they've got a year to save up.
How about you just subscribe and turn on notifications?
Oh, I love that, baby, Chippy.
You know what it is.
Pauline Reed. So
Yes.
She was actually the first murder, okay? And she actually went to school with Myra Hindley's younger sister called Maureen, right? And Reed was going out with a fella named David Smith, who was actually questioned and cleared. But it's important to remember that name because later on, David Smith becomes a little bit more involved in the story. The way this murder was actually committed was Brady had instructed Hindley to go ahead and borrow a van and drive it. And what he would do, he was on a motorcycle, and when he would see a victim that he seemed suitable, what he would do is he would flash his lights, and that way Hindley knew to then pull over. And what he did was he approached Reed, who was only 16 years old at the time, and said, "Do you fancy a lift home?" Now, personally, my mom always taught me, don't get in a car with strangers.
Hell no.
Unfortunately, Hindley was just a little too persuasive. You know, good. It was a woman. She was in a car by herself. Offers up a lift. Look, it doesn't.
Nah, bro. You get shit. Niggas can't get me nowadays, bro. The shit with females is way too good to be true. Okay? There's no way in hell. No way in hell some random chick is pulled up like, need a ride home? Like, hell no. Hell no. The fuck? Females don't talk to me, bitch.
Doesn't seem that scary at the time, right? And
I know you're trying to kill me.
She decides
Shit.
to take her up on the offer, and once she gets in the car, she says, "Oh, would you mind coming and help me look for an expensive glove?"
Such a strange
Why
thing
a
to
glove?
ask for. Like, it
God,
could have
shut
been
up, Alto.
anything. I've lost my dog. I've lost my cat. You know, I've lost my 4-month-old child. Like, but no, we're looking for a glove.
An expensive glove. I just thought a little bit weird. Anyways, Myra Hindley drives Reed up to Saddleworth Moor. Okay, obviously that's where we get the name Moor Murders. And what ends up happening is Brady says to the girl, "Right, let's go look for this expensive glove out and about out there." And unfortunately, what happens is he goes and kills Reed out in the moors. And what he does is he then comes back to Hindley and says, do you want to come and see what I've done to her? Essentially, he takes her over to the spot where she is, and we try not to get too graphic here, but ultimately, her throat was just completely
Slit open.
Gone?
Yeah, slit open. It was.
Oh,
just
I was
a
like,
horrible
what?
sight. Not only
Where
that,
was her throat?
but there was, reports that there was sexual assault that was also committed prior to her being killed. So it was really it was a brutal death. This isn't just.
Oh my God.
Sort of, I don't know. There's no nice way to die, but there's certainly more brutal ways, and this is how they did it. After the attack, Brady actually buries her in the moor. According to Brady anyways, supposedly Hindley wasn't there for the killing, but was there for the sexual assault. But there are some conflicting statements about that, and some say that Hindley was actually just there for the full thing. So yeah, it's a bit up in the air. But yeah, like I said, was buried in the moor, and this is just the first of 5 murders.
23rd of November, we have John Kilbride, the next victim, only 12 years old. Now, this had a big search involved. There was 700 statements, 500 missing posters printed, and 2,000 volunteers.
It's a lot of volunteers. That's a lot of manpower.
That's a lot of volunteers. Again, it was a similar situation. They offered him a lift home. They promised him a bottle of sherry, but he's 12 years old, which is a bit confusing. Anyway,
Hey, look. If someone offered me,
No, it's not. It's not.
I probably would have taken it.
Oh, 100%. Well, anyway, they've told him that they need to stop off at home to get him the bottle of sherry.
Right.
And whilst driving, Ian Brady has suggested to John that, they help look for this glove.
This bloody glove again. Same story.
Same thing again. So they take him out to the moors, and when they get there, Brady takes Kilbride out into the moors.
Looking for this expensive glove.
Yes. Myra's actually waiting in the van. That's what they said before. Anyway, he tries to slit his throat, ends up failing, so he strangles him with a shoelace.
Remember, by the way, guys, this is a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Like,
it's mental.
It's not. It can't even have been like a challenge. It's just so horrific to even think about.
No, every time I get that notification, it scares the shit out of me, bro. It scares the shit out of me.
By offering him sherry, alcohol, like that.
I don't know. It's
confusing.
What's
to me.
weird to me as well, and throughout the entire thing, is why is it always kids? I
guess they must have had some obsession, obviously with a child as well. It's very easy to overpower. It's very easy to trick.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like if they were trying to make the perfect crime, I feel like, if anything, I feel like kids would be the easiest / the hardest thing to do, bro, because people love children. You know what I'm saying? So, like, someone's going to come asking questions. So that's going to be the hard part, but the easy part is that, you could always overpower them, you know what I mean? So there's that, and what I'm saying, it's probably very easy to persuade or convince them to do some shit. So yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. They had to secretly be pedophiles or some shit, huh? But I guess they weren't doing anything weird with the kids, but they could have been sexually turned on by killing them, right? That could have been a thing. I don't know.
If I came up to 21-year-old Cal Freezy in the street and I said, "Yo, Chief, get in my van. I got a bottle of sherry for you." You know what? Maybe you would get him.
Yeah, for the bottle of sherry, maybe. But
I know what you're like.
Yeah, for offering me a lift home, no thanks. I'll just get an Uber.
But
I get what you mean. When it's with children, it's
hey, what's up,
very
crazy?
easy to convince
very
them.
naive.
Very easy to overpower them. But it just, I don't know. Are those really the reasons why they did it? Anyways, 16th of June, 1964. Again, what I kind of notice about these murders, by the way, is that they all seem to be a 6-month difference in it. Is it a cooling off period?
Yeah, a little break,
They could just be waiting for the investigation to completely die out, let a bit of the interest cool off, because maybe if they were too close, it would just be it would cause too much of a stir. So
I don't think that. I think it would just literally be weird.
The same person, because ultimately, these kids are going missing. The police are not finding these bodies to attach a death to it, right?
Yeah,
so if
so
they
they
were finding
don't know.
these bodies, they might be oh, there's a serial killer on this, but they're not. They're just missing, right?
Yeah.
The kids are just going missing. So this 6-month cooling period is kind of interesting that that's the time frame they've decided to do it in. But
Yeah,
anyways,
like
like I
what?
said, 16th of June.
Why 6?
1964,
Why 6
a
months?
kid called Keith Bennett. Now, in this particular case, it was actually his stepfather, Jimmy Johnson, who was their main suspect. The police were like, yo, this guy is looking like he might be the guy, and they actually brought him in 4 times.
Oof.
But as we know now, it wasn't the stepfather. It was, in fact, of course, Ian and Myra, okay? Now, how did they do this particular murder? Well, it's not actually that much different from the previous ones. Again, in this particular
The slit through the throat
murder, they all seem to be following this same story, the same path. This particular time, obviously, Keith Bennett, he's only 12 years old. He's been asked by Myra Hindley, again, who seems to be the one sort of enticing everyone. She's obviously, it's a woman, you would trust a woman a little bit more.
Friendly face, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not too sure if it was Ian Brady, maybe these kids would be like, whoa, stranger danger.
Yeah.
But with a woman, you're probably more likely to help out. And she says to Keith Bennett, hey, I'll give you a lift home. Obviously, it's the same story again, Chip. They pulled out the bloody lost glove once again, and they said, come help me look for it in the moor. They've gone out to the moor, and of course, Ian Brady has gone and killed and sexually assaulted that poor kid, Keith Bennett, again.
Boxing Day, 1964. So not a great Christmas here.
Mate, this is not what you want during Christmas time.
Leslie Ann Downey. She disappeared from a fun fair in Ancoats. Now, there was a massive search afterwards, of course. They found nothing. Now, it's a little bit different to the previous murders, the way they've done it. They have approached her. She's 10 years old, by the way, this one. 10 years old. They've approached her and deliberately dropped a bunch of shopping like near her and said, yo, can you help us take it to the car? Obviously, she's done so. And then they took her to a house where they forced her to pose naked for pictures.
Grim.
Yeah.
So...
I knew it. I told y'all. I told you. It had to be some pedophile shit. I knew it. I knew it. It's always some weird shit, bro. Always some weird shit. It's never just like, oh, the people just like killing people. It's always weird. Always weird.
Grim. And can I just say, this is a fun fair. Like, how twisted and sick do you need to be to go to a fun fair to deliberately trick a 10-year-old kid?
Well, it's an easy place to obviously pick up a child.
Obviously.
Anyway, after they've made a post of those pictures, she has been sexually assaulted and murdered. But it's different because she's been murdered at the house this time.
Right, okay.
So the next day, they've taken her out to the moors and they've buried her there. So same place. Obviously, they think that's a great spot for hiding the bodies.
Yeah. What's interesting, or I maybe not interesting, but what's different about this is they actually have audio recordings, right? There are 16 minutes long of this poor girl literally pleading for her life, and they've kept this audio recording, they've kept the photos. It's all just so twisted.
That's not great.
Why? Like, one thing is committing the act, but they actually wanted to keep record of this now. They wanted to hold on to the memories of what they did to this girl. Like, this isn't like this. It's just
more,
so sick.
Yeah,
it's
it gets
so
more
sick
sick and
it?
twisted as the story goes
Yeah.
on. According to Hindley, and this is like when we said earlier, conflicting statements. She said she went to go make a bath and she came back and Downey was dead. Okay, but now according to Brady, Hindley was the one that actually killed Downey. So like now they've gone from being that power couple, to pinning it on each other.
Yeah,
it's not gone well.
No, not at all. And it's
So
just like, I mean,
So they got caught and now they're just in shambles?
You knew what was going.
I thought this was about to be like the craziest team or something like that ever. You know what I mean? But now come to find out they're snakes.
Happen.
Yeah.
You're both as bad as each other.
Yeah.
It's grim.
I guess they're just trying to shave like a couple of years off their sentence.
It doesn't make a
just
difference. You lot are
stretch.
done.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Maureen, Hindley's sister, actually married David Smith later down the line.
Remember that bloke? I told you to remember him.
He was dating the first victim, Pauline Reed.
Yes.
Bang.
Now, I would imagine that David Smith didn't know that Ian Brady and Myra Hindley killed his girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
Right? So I imagine that was the
case.
case.
Assume so.
But it is interesting to note that a lot of people have said that David Smith and Ian Brady got on like a house on fire. They shared a lot of values in terms of like wealth distribution, their thoughts on crime, stuff like that. Like, they got along really well. And so there's a lot of people out there that actually reckon David Smith had a lot to do with the murders than people originally let on. But yeah, it's just safe to say that they got on really well. And in fact, David Smith ends up being involved in one of the murders we're going to talk about. 6th of October, 1965. Unfortunately, we've got another victim, Chip. And this time, his name is Edward Evans. Now, the way this one played out is actually very different. You know,
This shit is crazy, Zay. But what's up, little nigga? How you doing, bro?
the glove wasn't present in this particular story, okay?
Thank God.
So we've got something different. This time, Hindley drove Ian Brady to the, I believe it was called like Manchester Central Railway Station. And he went in there while she waited in the car. He went out there to select the victim, and what he did was he approached Evans and sort of invited him for a sexual encounter back at the home. So what they did was they jumped in the car with Myra Hindley, they went back to the house, and they had a little glass of wine. Now, what happened was, at this point, she had been told to contact David Smith and say, yo, come round. And when you come round, wait for a signal to enter the house. And once you see that signal, you can come in. So what he did was, he waited for the signal. He saw the signal, which was a flash of the light again. He comes into the house, and what does he see? He goes into the bedroom, and he sees Ian Brady with a hatchet standing over, legs over, and whacking Edwards in the face.
What the
with one of these
fuck?
hammers. Now, it said that David Smith had nothing to do with it. He just saw it. And what happened after that was it was supposedly an electrical cord strangled Evans. And from there, he was wrapped in some plastic sheet and then put in the spare bedroom. Now, like I said, I'm not really, so I'm a little bit confused about this for a couple things. One, if David went in and didn't do anything like is supposedly claimed, what was the point in him being there, right? Except all he did was help move the body into the spare bedroom. That's all that
maybe
happened.
they're trying to. So we spoke about how they become such good friends earlier on.
Yeah.
Maybe they were thinking, let's turn this double-act into a triple-act. You know, we've got 3 people involved. They can commit more murders, whatever. Maybe they were thinking he's a good friend. They wanted to get him involved in it.
But Ollie, supposedly,
why else
according
would
to
you
this,
show him?
The only thing is that he comes in, he just helps move the body, but he's there and he witnesses the whole thing. But why? Like, I just don't see the benefit other than him being a good mate of Ian Brady's. What's the point?
And even still, for him himself, like he comes in, he's been told to wait for a signal. He's probably thinking like, okay. He walks in the door and he just sees his friends.
Surely he'd go, oh my God, what are you doing? Or is he twisted as well?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I knew.
He's like, I want to get in on that.
Have they corrupted his mind? The involvement of David Smith was ultimately
the downfall, the end.
Yeah.
Finally, they brought in David Smith to almost flex on him, or just show that they can just do this to people for fun, right? And finally, it's the reason
it brought the world
they
down
got caught.
Anyway, so David Smith, he comes back the following day with a pram, and this is to transport Evans' body to a car so they can take it to Saddleworth Moors.
I wonder why did they always want to bury them all in the
well,
same
the Saddleworth
place?
Moors, you know, I've been there. This place, it's an open place. It's, you know,
is it haunted as well?
It's wild plains. I mean, it could be haunted now. So
so it's literally just an open graveyard, like a graveyard that's just wide the fuck open. Like, is it? I'm not even understanding how that makes sense.
Awful things have happened there, and
what's it like? Like, describe the place to me.
It's a pretty scary place to drive through at night.
Is it big? Is it just like loads of?
It's big open plains, you know.
Oh,
okay. It's a great place to bury a body, obviously. Okay. Anyway, he goes home at 3 a.m. and he actually throws up. He tells his wife everything that happens, and
he's not built for it. Like
he's not built for it, you know. This isn't him.
Yeah.
You know,
I think he's seen this stuff and he's gone, I actually can't hack this. He's almost had, what do you call it, like an epiphany? Not an epiphany, but just one of those moments where he's gone,
what is it called, like remorse?
This is actually so tapped.
Well, I mean, you'd think he would have said that when he saw Ian with a hatchet, but
it took until the next day.
Yeah, anyway, so at 6:10 in the morning, 3 hours later, he calls up the police from a telephone box. He actually took a screwdriver with him just for protection.
So this man was clearly shaken up by everything
he's scared.
He'd
He's obviously seen all that and he thinks, I could be in trouble. Anyway, the police pick him up and they take him to Hyde police station. The police actually decided to take some action. Okay, so
Good stuff.
Yeah, so they've
immediate action. We love to see it.
100%. They've turned up to the couple's house and they've actually dressed up as a bread delivery men. So
Okay.
they're going up the couple.
What?
I rate
Sleuths,
that.
yeah. They've turned up. They've asked Myra if her husband is home. They've been invited into the house, and Ian
Perfect.
Brady is sat there, and he's actually writing a letter to his employer about an ankle injury.
Now, you're wondering, well, why have you put that little detail in there? Well, because, according to David Smith, he had actually rolled his ankle while he was killing Evans. So, only a couple of days later, he was there like, yo, I need the time off work. I've done my ankle in. Maybe he's thinking...
Complete cat.
Super... Well, no, he did do his ankle in, but
that's true.
it wasn't five-a-side or anything.
No.
No, it was him killing someone.
Murdering.
So,
This nigga, imagine somebody be like, yeah, I pulled a muscle, bro, chopping that nigga up. That shit was crazy.
It's interesting that little detail was left in there.
The police actually told the couple that they were investigating an issue the previous night involving some guns.
Gun violence.
Yeah, gun violence. Hindley's told the police that they know nothing of it. They've let the police view the house, go looking over everywhere.
Take a look at the crib. Nothing has happened here.
Welcome, MTV Cribs. Myra and...
Yeah, welcome to my crib.
Anyway, there was one thing, though. A locked spare bedroom, like you mentioned before, because that's where they put the body. Anyway, Myra's told the police that she's left the key at work. Now, the police have offered to take...
okay, then jump in the whip.
Yeah, the police,
Let's go get
the police
key.
have said, let's go get that. But anyway, Ian says, hand over the key.
Yeah.
He's just kind of,
I wonder why he's done that.
He's coughed up the key pretty easily. Obviously, the police have gone into the room, seen everything, and...
Ian Brady, mate, you've got a dead body in here.
Yeah, anyway, so they've taken Ian...
They arrested him.
Yeah, they've gone downstairs and arrested...
What? Just like that? It's just over? That's crazy. That sounds so weird to me. Why would they give in so easily? You would have thought they would have tried to fight right there or kill the police officers, right?
Ian for the suspicion of murder. But
Actually, Chip.
Like, why don't... My thing with people, bro, is why do people get caught and then they go like, I'm caught, Like, I feel like if I'm doing all of this stuff, like, I feel like I would take it to, like, the furthest point. And the furthest point is literally killing myself before I go to jail, right? That's crazy.
Myra Hindley was arrested shortly after, but she was charged with the accessory to murder.
better than nothing.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And what was even better was the fact that when they searched the house, they found a book that belonged to Kilbride. Remember that young lad that was killed earlier? They actually found a book that belonged to him, and that obviously was massive for the police because it made them realize, hold on a second.
They've been doing
it's not
this.
just the one that's being killed. We have got at least one more victim.
At least they tried to BS their way. Exactly,
So
bro.
it opened
They're just
up
like,
the can
oh,
of worms.
all right, we'll give
Ian
them the key.
Brady and
Oh,
Myra
we're going to
Hindley
jail.
wanted to get rid of all the incriminating evidence possible. So what they did was they packed it all into a suitcase, closed the suitcase up, and they actually managed to put it in the left luggage in Manchester railway station.
It's such a weird place to put incriminating evidence. Like, why don't you just burn it, man?
But supposedly, right, and supposedly, Ian Brady just had a thing for railway stations. Like, he just liked railway stations. I know that sounds silly, right?
No, he's a train man.
And because the police knew that, they decided, right, well, let's go see if we can find any of this evidence. So they actually went to Manchester station, and that's where they found this suitcase in the left luggage. Now, in this suitcase was like a gold mine of evidence. It had photographs, notes, costumes, and these photographs were very graphic, horrible photographs of all the stuff. And that's where they also found the audio tape of that girl crying. They had the gun that was found in there as well. And yeah, it was just pretty grim, man. I couldn't imagine opening up a suitcase.
So this
like
suitcase alone has tied, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley to the other murders.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, what was interesting actually is that Ian Brady, when he was confronted and the police said, "Look at these photos we found," he said, "Yes, I did take those photos, but after I took those photos, Downey, the girl, was taken away by two men." So had no idea what happened to her. And he's obviously given Super Cap here.
Yeah,
Mega Cap.
Yeah, Sir Cap a lot.
Yes, absolutely Sir
Yeah.
Cap a lot, because we know that is not the case.
2nd of December,
Mm-hmm.
we have great news. Ian Brady was charged with the murders of Kilbride, Downey, and Evans, and Myra Hindley has been charged with the murders of Downey and Evans, and in the accessory.
You got there.
I got there to the murder of Kilbride.
Fantastic news. An interesting thing about the photos was that it actually had Hindley's dog in the background of some of them. And weirdly enough, what that meant was, by looking at the dog and seeing like its age, they were actually able to put a timeline of when these all happened. So they could look at the dog and be like, right, this happened then. It looks slightly older here. And so they managed to create an entire timeline.
I like that, you know, for like the 60s to the 80s.
Mate,
whatever.
that is so smart.
That's good detective work.
That's good stuff. You get the thumbs up from the fellas.
Seal of approval from the fellas.
I'm not gonna lie, Chip. We often like to get onto the police and the poor jobs that they do, but they've actually done all right with this one, anyways.
Yeah,
but
and they're on time.
it's not all happy stories, okay, Chip? Because unfortunately, this dog was set to be examined, and they put it under anesthetic, and unfortunately, the dog didn't make it, lad. The dog didn't make it. How sad is that?
That's we were just talking about how great the police work has been, and
Well, we'll blame this one on the vets. I don't know. Anyway,
Okay.
Unfortunately, the dog didn't make it out alive, and according to sources, Myra Hindley was absolutely fuming about that. And it plays into the fact that the only other time that she'd really shown a lot of emotion was when her best friend
died.
remember when she was in her
reservoir.
childhood.
Yes.
So they say that she lacks a lot of emotion, but she was obviously very attached to that dog. She was very attached to her best friend, and when both of those had died, they'd obviously shown a lot of emotion.
but she wasn't showing any.
A lot of wild emotion.
Yeah.
It's just
Bit twisted.
yeah, batshit crazy. Trial. Now, this began on April 19th, 1966, and it only lasted 14 days. David Smith was obviously the prosecution's main witness. Now, there was some question around whether his testimony was affected by like financial incentives, because he sold his story to newspapers,
Yeah.
and he got more money if they were convicted. If they were convicted, he got a bigger sum of money.
So the case was like, oh, is he only trying to get these guys convicted because he's got quite a bit of money riding on it, that sort of thing?
Yeah, but in the end, the Attorney General has said he wasn't motivated by that.
money.
Everything's cool to go ahead.
All right.
Brady was found guilty on all murder counts, while Hindley has been acquitted in the case of John Kilbride, but was found guilty to being an accessory to John's murder, as well as guilty of the murders of Downey and Edwards.
All right, so she got done for 2 of them, an accessory for 1.
Everything's coming
whereas
together.
Or
We're
leave
getting
it,
them
or leave it.
charges slapped down.
You love to see it.
The cuffs are on. You're going down.
They got life sentences, Chip.
Fantastic.
Great news. Although the death penalty was on the cards, but around that time, it was a time where they had sort of abolished and got rid of the death penalty, which maybe some viewers think is a good thing. Some people might say they deserved it. Either way, they got life sentences here. Ian Brady, right? It takes a certain man to do this, right? But he actually asked to live in solitary confinement, and he did so for 19 years.
Do you think that's because he knew other prisoners were gonna, possibly
Fuck him up?
Yeah, absolutely batter him.
I mean, he murdered kids. Yeah, maybe, but
Yeah, there's no way, bro. You mess with kids, like, they're fucking you up in jail. That's exactly what's happening. And honestly, you would think that'd happen more, but that just proves to you how weird niggas are, because they be in jail doing the same shit.
Assuming this was a famous
it
case.
it takes something else to ask to live in solitary
It's like
confinement.
living in a dark hole almost.
Yeah,
It's
for
awful.
19 years, which is just, I could never imagine that. But anyways, after those 19 years, he ended up being diagnosed with being a psychopath. They said,
Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock
I mean, look, I'm surprised it took 19 years. That's
Yeah.
what I will say. I'm surprised it took that long. And yeah, he ended up getting sent to a high security prison after that.
In the 1980s, this is quite some time after they committed the murders, news broke that they were actually responsible for 5 victims and not just the original 3. These 2 more victims that they've added on were Pauline Reed and Bennett.
So far, they've just been charged with the 3 murders, but we'd obviously run you guys through 5 different murders. So finally, it did come like 10 or so years later, right? But they finally said, actually, you guys did these two
so
as
they
well.
finally got him nailed down for 5. And even later on in the investigations, Myra Hindley actually refused to admit that she was just involved in the killings
either of those
at
two.
all. But she did help the police and take them to like the settlement wars and help with photos and stuff like that.
Oh, what, to help them try and find the bodies? Okay. Eventually, in 1987, guess what?
I'm here
Hindley
for that.
fesses up. She confessed that she'd done all 5 murders. I mean, the years had passed. It was on her mind. She's confessed, I done 5. Now, what they did was, the police then went to Ian Brady and said, look, Hindley has confessed to all 5.
Okay.
And what Ian Brady said was, if you can prove to me that she actually did confess to all 5, I'll confess as well.
Ooh.
Wait, what?
Interestingly enough, they did manage to prove it, but he was only going to confess under one condition, right? And that was that he would be allowed to commit suicide immediately after confessing.
Not gonna happen.
No chance.
I've never even heard of that.
You're not getting
I
off
don't
that
even
lightly.
know- Yeah, like who? I've never heard of that being asked for when like.
Mate, the guy,
Trying to
like
get
we said,
confession
this
already.
guy was a psychopath. He had a lot of things wrong with him.
Yeah.
But he obviously wanted the easy way out here.
Oh, 100%. No, he didn't deal with what he'd done.
Yeah.
First.
It's always crazy how they're always pussies. Like, they never like do like it's never like people like you always see like 1 or 2 people that are actually murderers that like fucking really do that shit. You know what I mean? Like that's like what they did it because they were just into it. It wasn't like on no weird shit or nothing like that. Like they just were like, oh, I just want to kill people, and they just went and killed people. You know what I mean? What is this weirdo shit? Like, why does this shit happen? I never understood this, bro. Like, I like, what is there that happens in the world? Like, is it just the bullying? Is it just people being alone? Like, what is it that like turns people into this? Like, it just makes no sense to me. Like, if you're gonna do it, go all the way, bro. Like, go all the way, bro. And take it. Like, be like, all right, yeah, I did that shit, then go along with your life. But damn, like, this,
to July, we've made a breakthrough. The police have found Reed's body 100 yards away from where they found Downey's body. So they're finding the victims finally. Once Ian Brady's actually.
Did he say it had been a whole month?
So they're finding the victims finally. Once Ian Brady's actually found out about this, he makes a formal confession. So obviously now.
How the fuck did it take a month to find a body 100 yards away? What? How does that even make sense?
Better late than never.
Yeah, now he knows like they found the bodies. You know, I'm fucked. Anyway.
Bro, that's crazy. It blows my mind how easy it is, or how easy it was for people to like get away with shit back in the day. Like bank robbers and shit like that. Like we were so just useless at like any type of system of like figuring out things like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, it's so crazy. Like just thinking about all the crap, like what was even the point of being of like a actual like citizen? You know what I'm saying? Like what was the point of actually trying to be legal? What was the point? I don't even understand it. People were like fucking walking around stabbing people in the courtyards and shit and doing all types of weird stuff. And they did it for hundreds of years, it seemed like. There were literally people who would ride into town and just rob places on horseback. That still blows my mind to this day.
He even offers to help the police. Maybe he's trying to get some years of his sentence.
Imagine like a group of niggas pulling up and robbing your whole town on horseback. That's the thought of like how things used to work. Just blows my mind, bro.
Goes to Saddleworth Moors with the police, and he tries to point out the area of where Bennett's body is. The police have obviously dug that up. But unfortunately, Bennett's body couldn't be found, and to this day, Bennett's body still has not been found. Do you think that's because he's pointed out the wrong areas?
No, do you know what? It has been 20 years later, and I think it would be a bit pointless maybe to point it out. Maybe, I know this might sound weird, right? But the guy has been locked up for 20 odd years, okay?
In solitary.
Do you reckon
he
reckon he just wanted to go outside? I'm not even joking when I say that. I swear to you, bro. Did he just want to go out and just revisit the site?
It's possible. He probably doesn't even remember. It's such a vast place. Like it's going to be pretty
I was going to
hard.
say, my next thing to you would be, I've never been to this place, but is it one of those ones where, like, why haven't the police just dug up the whole place and tried to
Yeah,
find
it's just
it?
an entire moors. Like,
Is it
it's
huge?
just, it's not an option really.
Really?
Yeah,
It's too expensive.
yeah, but yeah, unfortunately, Bennett's body still not found.
Does the UK not have like ground scanning technology? Like the little shit where they like X-ray the ground and shit? Is that not a thing?
And Bennett's mother was still visiting Saddlemouth Moors up until about August 2012 when she died. Obviously Bennett was still buried there. I guess she was just going
kept
there.
visiting there.
Kind of like when you visit a grave,
Yeah.
almost.
That must be really tough. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. Like, could you imagine going there, just almost knowing that he's there somewhere?
You just don't know where. That's quite horrible.
Pretty sad. And further updates from there is Hindley died on the 15th of November 2002 due to pneumonia.
Yep.
And her partner in crime, Ian Brady, died on the 15th of May 2017, so a bit more recently. But yeah, that's where we're at with this case. Look,
it's going to be a struggle for them to find Bennett's body, in my opinion.
I
now that Ian
hope
Brady
one
has
day
died.
they do, but you know the mum's dead now. I don't know. Is there much family there?
Yeah, it'd be good for maybe the remaining family members.
What do you think, Chip? I got a question for you. Who do you think was in charge here? Like, because obviously they were a bit of a power couple here. Do you reckon it was more so Ian Brady going to Myra Hindley, come on, let's do this, it's you and me? Or do you think it was Myra Hindley sort of coercing her partner Ian into doing all this stuff? Who was the power? Who was the alpha here?
With the details that we've gone over here, I feel like Ian Brady just, he lacks empathy, lacks emotion. I think he's a psychopath. Okay, he's the crazy one. She's become infatuated with him.
I think she's in love with him so much.
They've started to share the same ideals, she shared like
values.
Yeah, the same values over the relationship. Like she's adopted them.
Yeah.
She's just become as nuts as him.
Yeah.
Because when we spoke, she did show
She's her
emotion
own
when her
nut,
son
low
died,
key.
So she's
when
got
she
it
was
in her.
younger. When her dog died, she's got it in her. I think Ian Brady has twisted her mind into
Really?
this
Yeah, I
crazy
think
place.
She did say early doors in the relationship, like when she met Ian Brady, it was very much like an infatuation. She loved everything about him, and she said that he could have like convinced her of absolutely anything, and she would have believed it.
Yeah.
Like she even said if she had told him the Earth was flat, that she would have believed it. So
it isn't.
Chip,
Another
please,
mystery for another
another
day.
mystery. Anyways, look, I agree with you. I think Ian Brady was definitely maybe the leader of the two, but please don't get it twisted. They are both horrific people. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this particular episode on the Moore's murder. If you guys did, then what do they have to do, Chip?
You have to subscribe and hit that little bell to turn on notifications so you won't miss an episode of the Fellas Mysteries. They're out every Monday at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.,
This has been
baby.
Myself, PC Crimes, and Detective Freezy. Oh,
your little knee slap.
it's got nice thighs. And we will see you.
He's fucking too, man.
Sorry, I robbed your line.
Nah, it's all right. It's all right.
We'll give him a gunshot.
Fucking hell, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning into that video. If you guys haven't already tuned into the Fellas Podcast channel, oh my God. The Fellas Mysteries channel, man, you're really missing out, all right? I love you guys so much. Again, thank you so much for your time. Go give some to the homies, all right? Big peace.